Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I just want to talk about and give you my tips on how to record or how to film the ceremony using only one camera. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you're new to here, I'm Nick, own a video production company here in South Wales. Used to be from London. I mainly do weddings, but also do sort of promotional videos for smaller businesses that they sort of use for their websites and Facebook and all like social media. And I also do a bit of corporate like video needs for any corporations, and that work can sort of vary. And I'm actually off to London, back to London tonight, as one of my biggest corporation companies is actually the Metropolitan Police Service. So I've got 2 days sort of doing some stuff with them, and then 1 day back here doing some editing for them later in the week. But before I head off, I just want to do this video on how to film a wedding ceremony using only one camera. And for me, on the wedding day, this is probably the most stressful parts. When I was first starting out, definitely the most stressful. Obviously, after you do 50, 60 to 100, it's still it's not as stressful, but it is the main. This is the bit that you don't want to miss. So I've got a bit of paper here. I'm going to do a bit of sketching. So I ask one thing, and that is don't laugh at my terrible drawings. So I sort of quickly sketch out a rough ceremony and just sort of show you how I position myself with the one camera. Okay, so imagine this is the front. That's the front table. You've got the registrar there, or vicar. You've got guests there, there on either side, and then the groom usually stands here. So that is groom. So obviously when the bride walks down the aisle, they usually come, they might long walk or curl around here, but they come down this way. So when the bride's coming down, the registrar usually moves to one side, and my camera is bang on. That's a terrible camera picture. My camera is there, just nailing whoever's coming down. So depending on traditions, it can sometimes be the bride first with the dad, with all the bridesmaids afterwards, or can be all the bridesmaids and then the dad, and then they all go sit usually that side. Sometimes before they start walking down, I will come around here and film the groom's reaction. But I personally try to do as less moving around as possible. So that's sort of position one. Whilst I'm waiting for the bride to come down, I will sort of move from side to side and get shots of the guests. I usually use these for like beginning, just before the ceremony starts. I wouldn't use these shots during the ceremony because they're usually talking to each other and stuff like that. So you can't really use those shots during the ceremony. So that's sort of as the bride's coming down. She's coming down the aisle. We're literally filming. And I'm usually on, for the whole ceremony, manual focus. Sort of manual focus. Usually on f-stop. Probably around the 5.6 to be honest. I'm not really wanting a shallow depth of field because my range of focus is, you know, because it's 5.6, there she's going to be in focus sort of all of that area. And then, yeah, she'll come down. She'll give a little kiss usually to the groom. And then during the ceremony, let's do this picture again. You've got the registrar, got the groom, got the bride, and you've got all the guests there. So I now position myself as soon as the bride as soon as she's come down the aisle, I'll position myself here. And I'm more focusing on the bride. And again, I'm still in manual focus. And yeah, f-stop still about 5.6. I don't usually change those settings. Obviously, camera white balance is daylight settings, usually depending on the room. And then, yeah, ISO usually about 800, depending on the lighting. And I have got another video on the best cinematic settings. And you basically want this number as low as possible to stop all that grainy effect. But obviously in low light conditions, you might have to boost that up. So, like I said, as it starts happening, I'm more focusing on the bride. I sometimes then, especially at the beginning, shimmy round here. And then I film a bit of the registrar talking. And then I'm constantly, well, not constantly, but move back there. I then might get guest shots as well. And this is the key now, getting, as the registrar's talking, getting the guest shots and filming them for about a good 7 to 10 seconds. Okay, and then these can be used. I'll tell you a tip in a minute how we can use these. So then when they are doing the vows and everything like that, once the groom's talking, I'll then come around here. So whoever's doing the talking, I will film the groom there. And then when it's the bride's turn, I'll come back round to there and then film the bride. But the hardest part of the vows, because the registrar or vicar is not going to wait for you to get into position. As soon as the groom has said his vows, or the I do's, the registrar will then go straight away to the bride. And the registrar might even be in your way as well. So when you're trying to get round to the other side, that's where she might have already started saying her vows. Now, this is where you want to use some of those shots that you've cut to previously, once the registrar has been talking. And this is where you probably want to try and film at least half a dozen different people, to probably about 10 to 12 different people, or even, I like to do close-ups and wide shots. But a good point is maybe film the mother of the bride before, because what you can do now is you cut to them, and because you've filmed those for about 7 to 10 seconds, that gives you enough time to get round to that side to film the bride, and capture her vows. Ideally, that's where you want a second camera. If I had to have a second camera, I would have it at the back of the room, sort of capturing down to where they're talking. And you could have a nice wide shot, so you might be on a 35mm lens, or you could have it, it's depending on your style, you could have it quite zoomed in on them, so you might be on like a 200mm at the back, capturing that. And obviously that makes it a lot easier, but the title of this film is using the one camera. So I would use the cutaway shots, like I said, of guests just whilst I'm repositioning. And then when it comes to the editing process, I pretty much put the full ceremony in, but I do cut out the shuffling around once sort of the bride's made it to the front and things like that. So having those guest shots really does help in the editing. And then once leaving, that's the easy part. So they've done all their vows. So they've done their vows. They sign the register. And whilst there, because you can't usually film that bit, usually you film the fake. Once they get like another fake book out, and you film that. But whilst they're filming the real, signing the real bit, I usually put my camera straight onto the GlideCam. And if you've seen my essential kits video, you'll realise that I'm filming on a monopod on all of this, so you can quickly move from side to side rather than taking a big tripod and shifting it around. Literally monopod, get it steady straight away. So once I've filmed the ceremony, go straight on the GlideCam, and then I stand at the back. I'll stand at the back, or actually halfway down, and then I just walk backwards, usually with a photographer at this stage, and just start walking backwards. Sometimes I put onto a bit of slow-mo and capture them walking back down the aisle. The other thing that I might have forgotten to mention is after they've done their vows and before the first kiss, I might come more central again and get the first kiss there. Doesn't always happen, but if you have got another camera, what does look quite nice is the first kiss from the other end. So, but this is the one camera video, so you make that decision. You might want to stay looking at the bride for the first kiss. But yeah, my main tip on this is making sure you get those guest shots. Don't autofocus your camera, keep it all manual. F-stop, you don't want it too small. You definitely don't want like a 2.8 or lower. You really want about around the 5.6 or even a bit higher. It just gives you a bit more range to keep them in focus. And that is my tips on using the one camera. So, like I said at the beginning, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.